First, not because they're not going away soon enough. The headlines breaking in the administration's 50 running scandals. Bush. Number 3, Bailout-Gate. This is what happens when you give bankers public money and you don't tell them what they can and cannot do with it. They keep it. Bank of America, which got $25 billion in the taxpayer bank bailout, promptly cut off the line of credit at Republic Windows and Doors in Chicago. That factory, giving its employees 3 days' notice, closed its doors, saying without the Bank of America line of credit, it could not pay salaries, let alone health care or retirement benefits. Workers who average $14 an hour and who were guaranteed 60 days' notice of any firings refused to leave the building. They're still inside, 250 of them in total, about 60 at a time, in peaceful protest. President-elect Obama expressed his support for them. The governor of Illinois says his state will no longer do business with Bank of America. From the Bush administration, crickets. Number 2, Blackwater-Gate. It's official now. The Justice Department has filed 35 counts against 5 of the mercenaries, charging them with voluntary manslaughter in the massacre of civilians in a traffic jam at Nisour Square in Baghdad on September 16, 2007. A 6th Blackwater employee pleaded guilty to these charges on Friday. The other 5 all turn out to have been ex-soldiers who served in Iraq and upon discharge went to work for Blackwater. And the first bit of common sense in this whole nightmare, all 5 peacefully turned themselves into the authorities. And number 1, Intel-Gate, in what was clearly branded an editorial on its editorial page. The New York Times yesterday savaged the White House for Mr. Bush's self-serving statements about how everybody got hosed by bad intelligence about Iraq. The truth is, the Times wrote, that Mr. Bush, Mr. Cheney, and Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld had been chafing to attack Iraq before September 11, 2001. They justified that unnecessary war using intelligence reports that they knew or should have known to be faulty. Today, lame duck National Security Advisor and Iraq co-conspirator Stephen Hadley denied not only the editorial, but the Times' right to print it. He says the Times is guilty of expressing inaccurate and incomplete statements on pre-war intelligence. He said there is no support for the Times' claim that the administration should have known the intel was faulty, and then he went into an irrelevant bluster about the undeniable success of the so-called surge. The administration dies, but the delusion lives on. Mr. Hadley, there was ample evidence that there were no WMD. You suppressed that evidence. You lied us into an unnecessary war.